My first podium of the weekend. Graphics from the F1 Juniors broadcast that need to be brought over to the main feed immediately. They can be like reskinned, but they are better than what we currently have on the main feed.
I don't know how you're going to decide this.
Well, yeah, so many of them were great. I think the use of just general like augmented reality and like was really cool. But honorable mention is all of those augmented reality overlays. So basically, like, they kept, like, putting the current standings, and it was just in the middle of the track. There was a really cool one where, when they were focusing on a pit stop, they, like, put the car with the driver. It was just, like, very dynamic and really well done. Like, for a first go, very impressed. P3, the time gap graphic with gaining and dropping. So, not that they don't put time gap graphics up on the screen on the normal feed, but I find them, they have like a very steep barrier to entry, and I think even like a normal non-12-year-old would appreciate just the call out of Lewis Hamilton gaining on Sergio Perez. And if our broadcasters on the main feed aren't going to verbally say that, I think having it on the graphic would just help everyone overall. Like, I know that like my mom, who I watch most F1 races with, would love that. And she's a pretty informed viewer. All right, P2, information graphics on the goal of the drivers at that moment. So similarly, versus like gaining or falling away, and multiple times they put up on the screen, Lewis Hamilton chasing Sergio Perez. Like, that literally just is like, this is the goal. And I think that's helpful for everyone, telling the story of the race. And last but not least, P1, the radio overlay. They need to have a photo of the driver in the radio overlay from now on. It makes it so much more personable. I really love it.
It brings it to life, really personifies the radio. For a broadcast that I completely was not able to fully watch at all because of where I live in the world, I loved the F1 Juniors broadcast. One of the major pieces that I thoroughly enjoyed the use throughout the entire weekend was the individual avatars they made for every single driver. So I'm here to basically tell... Oh my gosh. Hello, tripod that just wants to just not tripod. That's so...
Your poor tripod.
It's fine. I don't know why. I thought I fixed it. Okay. So, I am here with a podium of my favorite F1 driver avatars from the F1 Junior broadcast. I have an honorable mention, which I guess it's an honorable mention, but I just kind of need to discuss the elephant in the room of Daniel Ricciardo.
Oh, wait, sorry. Hold on, that was the wrong sounder. I don't think it's an honorable mention. I think it's a we have to talk about it.
Oh my god, the sounds felt like a personal attack. I was just going to point out, Danny Ricks, if you told me if all of the things did not happen in the last, week and 2 weeks that have happened, and if Nick was still at AlphaTauri, and if that was the same graphic, I'd be like, yeah, that's Nick DeVries. Did they change it? Who really knows? It kind of feels like someone was like, sure, close enough.
It really felt like they were at a severe crunch for time, because that was Nick DeVries, and they went, so if we always use the smiling option, do you think everyone will buy it? Because every other driver had different variations where they weren't smiling, but not the Danny Rick that was definitely Nick DeVries, that by the time they do this again, will definitely have a different version.
Not enough nose.
No.
And I mean that in the most loving way possible. Not enough nose for that to be Daniel Ricciardo. But
not the right hair, and not even... No. Just, it wasn't Daniel Ricciardo. That was Nick DeVries.
That was Nick DeVries. Okay, now on to the actual podium of my favorite avatars and really the things that made them different and why I enjoyed them more than the others. P3, Alex Albon. A perfect embodiment of blonde Alex. He has blonde hair, he looks fun, he looks sassy. Blonde Alex, basically in a Pixar format. I enjoy it. Wonderful, always. Blonde Alex. P2, Valtteri Bottas.
no way that's not P1. I was so sure when you said you were doing this podium that was going to be P1.
Well, also I am letting a lot of my fan bias infiltrate all of this, but the P2 of an animated mullet, is spot on. It really nailed it. Perfect VB energy, and I'm convinced that he probably now has that as his paddock photo for the rest of forever. And my P1, aka what I found the most enjoyable and my favorite avatar of the entire weekend, no surprise to anyone at all, is Lewis Hamilton. It was so cute. Yeah. I loved his braids. It was such Lewis vibes. It had such Lewis energy. And guess what? Yeah, my favorite driver. So what would be my favorite avatar? Lewis Hamilton.
So as the prior segment showed, in F1, data explains a lot. But there are some things that happened this weekend that I have zero explanation for. And actually, I only have one thing on this podium.
Wait, so you have a one item podium?
Yes.
Do I use... I don't know what sound to use for this.
I think the P1.
Okay.
P1. P1, things that happened this weekend that I have zero explanation for, even after looking and doing the research and following up and trying to figure it out. Alfa Romeo's pace.
Sick. Tell us more.
I don't have anything to say. I don't have... that. I have no explanation for it.
No explanation.
They were just fast. All of a sudden.
Congratulations. Weirdly. But... got nothing out of it. Oh, a collection, which could be almost a never-ending list because there was just so many wholesome moments. I tried to spice it up to get a little bit of different types of Danny Ricks, but my favorite Danny Rick moments from the Hungarian Grand Prix weekend, and I will start with an honorable mention because it's almost more of a fun fact.
Okay.
So, my honorable mention of learning Daniel Ricciardo's paddock pass picture. And it's his picture from the Met Gala, which is a interesting flex. P3, my favorite Daniel Ricciardo moments. Every single morning waking up with some kind of buongiorno, 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 buongiorno. Daniel Ricciardo, good morning, practicing his Italian. And in my opinion, it's the best that AlphaTauri clothes have ever looked all weekend. I was like, this is fashion.
Okay, those were two things on one podium, and you were talking very fast, and I didn't know when to hit the button. But I'm glad, as much as I'm not a Danny Rick fan, I'm a fan of excited Nicole, and I can attest that, every morning I got an excited text with, look at all the things!
Yes, but it was just, I think every day I was looking forward to, his coming into the paddock because it was a reminder of this actually happening. So it was the welcoming greetings in AlphaTauri clothing. So yeah, there you go. P2 for Daniel Ricciardo moments. F1 Junior interview post-quali. But I guess it was post-quali for Danny Rick, just basically when it all happened. But particularly, he was being interviewed at the exact moment that Lewis Hamilton was crossing the finish line and confirming for pole. And the F1 Junior interviewing him was an unbelievable Lewis Hamilton fan, so she was unbelievably excited. And also, as Danny Rick is trying to not be rude of in the middle of an interview, was every moment of I'm talking to a fan member's talking to me while watching an F1 race, and I'm just looking back and forth of the screen because you can just see him being oh, this is what's happening, and I'm gonna speak to the little girl. But then she was just Lewis Hamilton's on pole. It was just iconic.
I loved the screen cap of his face. Someone screenshot the video of him I'm sorry to audio listeners, I made the face.
Come check it out on YouTube to see what it is. But just the immediate of him processing what's happening was wonderful, really wholesome, absolutely great. And my P1 Daniel Ricciardo moment. How big is your smile on a scale of 1 to 10, Daniel? And post-quali, his response is 34,769. And if that's not the most Daniel Ricciardo answer I've ever heard, and just felt so serious, so legit. I'm so happy to have him back on the grid, and I really enjoyed all the content that it was. But Honey Badger is back-ish, baby.
This is our final podium of the episode today. And it's actually not about the Grand Prix last weekend, which is bucking the system. But these are controversial things that I like more than Spa in its current dangerous configuration. Okay, P3. Red Bull ending up winning every race in 2023. Better than the current configuration of the Spa track.
That's only P3? Oh, no.
I will say that I really, like, all three of these could probably be in any order.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say it's going to be an aggressive podium for sure, but fair.
P2, watching Ferrari mess up its strategy every week. I like that more than the current dangerous configuration of the Spa track.
At least that feels familiar.
Yeah. At least it brings entertainment, angry voice notes, data I can run. All right. And P1, controversial things that I like more than the current Spa configuration. A Monaco Grand Prix with no on-track overtakes.
Ah, she said it! Monaco is not bad. It's fun. And I agree with you, though. This is a stacked podium that I 1000% back. Thank you so much for listening to this highlight of episode 27 of Gridwalk. Don't forget to like and subscribe for a ton of more F1 videos and F1 content. Also, you made it this far in this video. Why not watch the rest of the podcast? It's as much fun, I promise. Click here for the full thing. Click, click, ready? Click, 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 click.